Yeah, try not to fart on your wife. That's all I'm
I mean,
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Juice and Jury podcast. This week, we have our first ever guests on our episode. We have Dumo, we have Murad, and we have Kevin here. They're going to give us the male perspective on some of these hot topics that we're talking about. You'll notice that Shanika is not with us this week. She just couldn't make it. That's okay. She'll be back next week. So, what's one of the first things we're jumping into this week, T?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, and we're going to try to
Thanks, guys.
as soon as we possibly can. So let's get right to it. I'm going to read something from Reddit because I thought it was ridiculous, but I want to know what you guys or how you guys feel about it. Okay. There's a lot, but a woman asked that, she said that she overheard her partner saying that he was thinking about cheating on her, but and she doesn't know how to move forward. She overheard her partner saying that he was thinking about cheating on her. So she doesn't know what to do. He hasn't done it yet, but she heard him talking to his friend saying that he was thinking about cheating on her.
Why wouldn't she just confront him? Like, that's so obvious to me.
Yeah. Is that all the post says? Because
it's a short post. That's it. Yeah.
Does she say if they're
She
married?
overheard
How long
who
will
say
people-
this?
Her boyfriend.
She overheard her boyfriend say that he was going to cheat on her?
He was thinking about cheating on her.
Oh, yeah. I agree with Dumo on that.
So what?
Or was it Maureen? Just call him out on it.
But he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, but just go.
what's that movie when they start arresting people for stuff they haven't done yet?
No, I don't know. Is it The Purge?
No, not the Purge. There's like a movie, it's like a futuristic thing where they have a system about like people.
Oh, Tom Cruise?
Yeah. And like Megan Good did a version of the show like recently. Like it's basically Minority Report.
Minority Report, yeah.
Okay. They basically have the system where it's in the future and the system itself could tell the future. And based on that system, they arrest people before crimes are committed. No crime has happened. The guy did not cheat. She heard him talk shit. He's a dumbass. What is he gonna do? I want to rob a bank tomorrow.
Is he guilty of robbing a bank? He didn't do it.
Wait, are you saying she shouldn't confront him at all? She just pretend like she's hearing?
Is this your husband or your boyfriend? What is it?
Boyfriend. But the issue is that you're gonna start a problem where there is no problem.
Well, I mean, there's a
problem. There's already a problem.
There's a problem. He's thinking about it, right? But
he's not only thinking about it, he's advertising this to people. So to me, the problem is already established. Like, first of all, it's one thing to think about it, okay? It's one thing to be like, I wonder if I should. It's another thing to be like, well, I'm telling a friend, I'm thinking of cheating on my partner. First of all, what an idiot. Who does this?
That's what
and second of all, like, maybe wants to get caught. And second of all, like, I would just question my judgment of being with this idiot. I'd be like, really? This guy's talking to people telling him he wants to cheat on me? Like, what? What is that? I would go talk to him, and based on his reaction, I would decide if I don't want to be with this person, because that's just like super bad judgment, stupidity. Like, what is going on?
So there was a girl on Reddit that said that her partner had mentioned to her that he was attracted to one of her female friends, but he doesn't intend on acting on it. But he just said, "Hey, I'm attracted to your friend."
I just have a question about these Reddit men. Like, what is wrong with these guys?
Yeah, what is Reddit?
Like, because Reddit is where people go and say all the stuff they would never say like in real life. So they're telling you all the real truth about what they're thinking and doing.
Dumb stuff is happening here where a man is going to his wife or his girlfriend like,
hey, I'm letting you know
I'm
that
attracted to this woman. I'm never going to do nothing about it, but I just want to let you know that she's hot.
What would you do? No, like, what would you do? Like, if your partner came to you and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm attracted to your friend, but don't worry, I don't plan on acting."
I feel like there's got to be better context to this. Like, What was the context under which he revealed this information? Was this a situation where they were fighting and he's like,
Oh,
your friend is hot anyway? Or was it like she's asking him, which one of my friends do you think is hot? And he answered her honestly.
Does it matter?
That's all you
he came
It
and
totally matters. It
You-
totally matters.
you could definitely
he means
tell.
it either way. So what,
You could tell you're married to a lawyer. You can definitely tell.
Why do you say that?
Tell me what happened before, after,
It's
during,
they
and
don't give you
next
much
week.
it's like
Then I
two
can give you
lines.
my answer.
2 lines.
It's
So
what you want, boy.
Kevin, I want to hear from you.
Me too. I want to hear from Kevin.
Sumo, does she do your Zoom meetings?
If your girl
It's circumstantial.
if your girl came to you and said that she was talking to one of your friends, but don't worry, she doesn't plan on acting on it, or
Yeah. So when I said that that person should be confronted, I don't mean like in an accusatory way. I just mean like if okay, let's turn the tables around, right? Like let's say the situation was reversed and I heard my girlfriend do that, right? The way I would look at it is say, okay, well, I heard you say so and so, and at that point, she either denies it or accepts that she got caught, right? Now, yeah, granted, Murad has a good point. Like there's nothing has been committed there. There's not, no wrongdoing at that point. But I think at that point, it warrants discussing the future of the relationship.
But this is a different scenario than the first
talking
scenario.
about the cheating one. You're talking about the overhearing of the possibility that this partner might cheat. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
No, there's another scenario where is it the girl, the boy? Does it say?
It was a female said this about her boyfriend. Her boyfriend mentioned to her that he was attracted to one of her friends, but he doesn't plan on acting on it. He said that he's attracted to one of her friends.
Yeah, the relationship is over. Let's cut to the chase.
Or it's just very open.
I thought you were going to say, or it's just beginning.
Well,
The new beginning.
well, look, think of it, Maureen. You can't police people's thoughts, right? On one hand.
You can.
And I think the unwritten rule is if you're going to think about it, you can't mention it. I think the biggest slap is not only thinking about it, but feeling comfortable enough to tell the other person, oh, by the way, this is where my head's at. I think that's disrespectful. I think there's no going back from that.
Yeah.
I say kick her to the curb.
Hell yeah. Why is your head there? Like,
Oh, sorry. Well, is he paying the bills? That's different.
That makes a big difference. Yeah.
Then he's allowed to say whatever he wants. No, sorry. I want to hear from Kevin again because I think you're muted. I don't know if you said something.
So the situation here is just the dude said that he's attracted to somebody else.
To her friend.
Her girlfriend, but he never wants to act on it. He just wants her to know that her girl's hot, basically.
A lot of women have insecurities, right? Like men and women have insecurities, man. But like generally speaking, for the vast majority, women, even beautiful women, have insecurities. So why would you kind of poke at that?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you go to the curb.
Kick him to the curb.
To the curb. You're out next.
I think
To the
that's
left. To the
very
left.
disrespectful and inappropriate for a man to tell his girl that, like saying, like, "Oh, your friend's hot." What? Like,
Well, it depends on the girl as well too, because I've dated a lot of girls where they call other girls hot. You know what I mean? So it depends on the kind of girl that you go with. Like,
Yeah,
if
that's
you're with a girl
different.
that's
A girl
comfortable
can
with,
say that. A guy, your boyfriend. If I say this girl is pretty, that's one thing. If Dumo says that girl is pretty, then there's a problem.
What if Dumo says that guy's hot?
I would give him a little side eye and be like,
Well, firstly, yeah, that would never happen. Just saying. In case you were thinking.
In case you were wondering.
But at the same time, I'd be surprised by that.
Honestly, I think it really depends on the level of comfort in the relationship.
The relationship.
I think some people just make too big a story out of something, and it depends on your values, and it depends on your morals, it depends on your comfort level, it depends on a lot of things.
Relationship together.
I have something to say about the comfort level in relationships. I'm a strong believer that you should not ever be too comfortable in your relationship. Like, I'm not ever advocating, there are some couples that like poop, like not together, but like
Where are you going with this, Maureen?
no judgment.
I think Dumo just gave you the
There are
silence.
couples that wipe each other's ass. Like, no.
They're super comfortable with each other to like a really crazy degree to me. I think that there's always got to be a little bit of decorum in a relationship, at least a little bit. Like, there's got to be some level of respect for the other person.
But you can't be the judge of that, though. Like, that's
No, but I don't think
somebody else might be okay with other stuff than you are, right? Like,
I don't think it's healthy to go all the way. I don't think it's healthy long term.
It depends. And I just want to, full disclosure, we do not poop around each other, so it's not like that. But I think it actually depends. I think like some couples that do that, like I've heard of certain couples and no offense to people that do this, but help each other shave down there or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's
Why would you need help with that?
No, there are some areas you can't get.
there are some things
No, you don't need help with that.
you can't turn back from, guys, and just, like Lotto says, know your limits and play within it. All right? There's some you can't go back from that.
Quote. Somebody mark that down. That's the quotable quote.
What are we?
I feel like, there's certain things like you should be kept a mystery. Like, even for a woman, like you shouldn't let I don't know, your partner see everything. So yeah.
What do you men think about that? You guys agree?
I don't understand what you should see everything.
No, I just give you an example of so we were talking about like pooping around each other.
Yeah, I'm cool with not seeing you poop.
Yeah.
Why would you want to see anybody poop? Like, nobody wants you there.
I'm okay with that.
I don't even want my kids to walk in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a private.
I agree. Like, that's just me though. Like, I don't like, my bathroom time is private. I don't want nobody in there when I'm in there. And I don't
my kids are with me. I'm good with that.
Yeah. What do you think, Kevin? Kevin is very quiet about this.
Kevin is very quiet
Kevin,
about this.
do you mind?
Kevin, who do you poop with?
If you're someone who's in the room with while you poop.
Guys, I hate to break it to you, but I'm pooping right now. So
that's the poop.
I'm very comfortable.
It is. It's the bubble.
No, I agree. Like, there should be some things that should remain a mystery.
Yeah. Sure.
And how you poop is definitely one of those things.
So, Kevin, would you care if your partner farted around you? Like, would that bother you?
Farting? Is that what you said?
That's what she said, bro.
Hey, if it's taco night, man, like there's some free passes sometimes, man. And you can't. There's something to be said to have some decorum and some civility, but it's a natural bodily function, and sometimes
so you don't mind. You don't mind.
It gotta go. It gotta go, man.
I mean, it's healthy if you hold it in. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, there's a time and place for it. Like, if you're in an elevator, definitely, you wanna abstain from that,
But then there's comedy, right?
I've seen people like fart on each other in a group of people, man. So
hang out with weird couples.
Again, like some people just have no shame, and they don't, it's not a thing for them,
I think it's a comfort thing, because like my friend, she mentioned that her and her husband had like farting wars, like where they would like fart and say, like in my head I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's cute. Like, I don't know if it's
I will say this. I will say this though.
Yes, Kev, please speak.
There are certain things that, when going back to Maureen about your point about being too comfortable, this is one of those things that when you do things like this, because in relationships, and even more so with marriage, and you guys can attest to this, I would imagine that you sometimes your spouse would do something that you found completely unattractive, and the more that person does that,
That's me.
uh then there's a possibility you're taking the kind of like, the fire out of the romance out of the marriage, like when you get too comfortable
Yeah.
and doing certain things, and even if it's joking about a certain thing that, like, triggers you or whatever, but you got to be able to read your spouse. And if you're being intentionally obnoxious to the point where it's irritating, then it's going to become a problem eventually.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
don't do that.
Pardon?
Parting.
So you're saying don't do that.
Yeah, try not to fart on your wife. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, all
But
right.
if it slips out, man, like,
Yeah, I feel like some bodily functions are inevitable when you're living with someone for several years.
Mm.
But
I'm just saying it's unhealthy to hold it in, guys. It's
just
unhealthy.
exit the room, go to another room, go to
Yeah,
the washroom, do what you need to come out.
exactly.
But it reminds me of like my grandmother. Like it's just no, that just reminds me of my grandmother.
Where are you going with this,
I was like,
Maureen?
hurry up. Tell us the
Sorry, my train of thought. The whole being too comfortable and stuff. She always used to tell me, like many times she's told me, make sure that around the house you don't look like garbage. Like basically, she's like, don't like
Those
disgrace us. And like you always have to look nice for your husband, always, which really I don't always listen to.
those are a little bit of archaic ways of thought, right? Those are
Right.
like the
because you want to be comfortable with
yeah,
home, so you're gonna
like
look whatever way.
I'm not asking you to dress makeup on, full on, like walk through the kitchen just to do laundry, like no, right? Those are old ways of thinking. Right? What does Dumo ask you to do that?
I was looking at him and you looked at me like, what? Is that an expectation? No. But she
Well, God bless.
Yeah, it would be nice. No, I'm just
no, but she even told me she's like you have to wear like satin nightgowns to bed, like things like that, like really old school stuff.
we could
And
get into knitwear in another podcast because I've got opinions. A man could dream.
I'm sure they do. That's another topic.
Not in my house. My son is always ruining my dreams with his foot.
Oh, hitting you in the head like you used to do probably to your parents.
I-
That I know, but that's because I actually got good pillows and my kids stole my pillows.
Yes, yeah.
And now every time I'm sleeping, I'm just like, oh, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I want to know what you guys think. Because there's this like the whole rise with like BBLs and plastic surgery and stuff like that. And just want to know, like, how do you guys feel about it? Like, do you care if your girl has had some work done, if she got, made her lips a little plump, booty a little plump, got some
And
breasts?
how much? And how much is like too much?
Do you like, yeah, or is it like, do you mind, or yeah, what are your thoughts?
All right. Go, Dumo, go.
Yeah. I personally don't mind. I think my views on plastic surgery have changed over the years, right? I recall that when I was younger and definitely more naive, I would have said, no, don't do plastic surgery. God made you like this. Accept it, embrace it. That's who you are. Why do you want to change something that God has made? But I think with time and talking to people, you suddenly realize that, life is in fact short. You don't get a redo. So if it's something that's important to someone else, then, and it doesn't change, or affect me adversely, then it's not something bad. But that being said, there is a limit, right? I've seen some, I don't know if you guys have seen this, the people, the random YouTubers who has done the most plastic surgeries and they just look like this walking mannequin, right? So that's the limit where I'll draw the line.
Or it doesn't look like realistic or natural.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're spending $300,000 on plastic surgery, then we got a bigger problem, right?
Yeah.
Well, only if it's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah, I think some people
Right.
overdo it, and that's where the problem comes in, for sure. When people
Kev, what
look
do you think?
overdone.
Jimo, you said there's a limit. Where do you draw the limit?
Well, if it comes off fake, like a story that just jumps to my mind was I recall reading once on this paper where this guy from, I don't know if it was, I'm pretty sure it was China, was suing his wife for
For
birthing
being ugly.
ugly child.
Oh, was
Right?
that the one where she took off the makeup and then she was not like cute?
No, no, no. She looks like, I'm talking 9 out of 10 model,
Oh,
facelift, everything. He meets her, she's the trophy wife, and they have a child, and it's I shouldn't say the ugliest child, but according to the lawsuit and the complaint, it was the ugliest child.
The dad was surprised that the kid turned out so ugly.
Yeah.
It's because he didn't see what the mom looked like previously to the plastic surgery.
Wow.
It's like, nah, I didn't sign up for this. Look at my child.
He's like,
So yeah,
"Oh."
that's where we draw the line.
I feel like that's really foolish. Like, so if she was ugly, yes, he maybe, I
He
don't
might
know.
have not married her and then
Yeah, but
not
then
have
he-
an ugly child.
So he basically married her for her looks. And he's like, wait a minute, you're really ugly? Like, you know what I mean? So like,
That's you?
but that's messed up. Like, that's also
Yeah,
his
no,
that's his
very-
child too. What if he made the child ugly?
Yeah,
Like, you
I
know what
don't
mean?
believe in
Why is it her fault?
I don't believe
Well,
involving children in this business. Like I joke around about like ugly babies all the time. Like everybody's like, oh, this baby, like the newborn babies, oh, they're so cute. They're ugly. Like if you've ever seen some newborn babies, like they're not cute. But I'm never
Ugly. You're not all of them are
They're
ugly.
so
I'm not saying
cute.
all of them. I'm not saying all of them. But like they're babies, they're innocent, they're pure. There's nothing to hate about them. There's never a day you're gonna catch me saying, oh, a lawsuit about this baby being ugly. Like, no, that's dumb. That's stupid. As far as plastic surgery for women, um, I am more like the naive Dumo, right? I am more of the belief of if that's the way you're born, you're going to be beautiful to somebody. Number one. Number two, plastic surgery, certain things about plastic surgery are not okay to me as far as like what do you call those things, the when you bring the belly down,
Tummy tucks?
like tummy tucks and stuff like that, for people who don't work for it, right? So if you, for example, are getting a tummy tuck because you're overweight or you want to get rid of that fat, but you don't work out, you don't eat proper, you don't do any of that stuff, I don't believe in that. If you worked out and you ate proper and you're working hard for your body and you got scars and you got like skin or whatever that you want to get rid of, I believe that's deserved, right? Go get yourself that procedure. You worked hard for it. I'm also not anybody to tell you this is how you should look, this is how you should feel. If that's what makes you feel better, go ahead, do your thing. You're your own, like nobody else is in your body except you. But to me, if you're taking my opinion, I'm always going to say no to plastic surgery. Like I'm always going to be like, if you want to lose weight or if you want to take fat off, whatever, go lose weight and go work out and go eat proper. So then after you do the surgery, you don't bounce back and go back to the old person that you were because you don't know how to control it. That's kind of my process. But with beautification, like if you have some kind of deformity in your face or um you have like lips that are above your like gum line, like there's some kind of thing that's obvious and it's affect your self-esteem
Yeah.
and self-confidence, go for it, do it, because if that's what you need to step out of your house and feel good about yourself, then do it. But what I'm not okay with is things that are lazy people just trying to look good and bypass a certain process of like wait, like BBLs, like come on, right? Like what are you doing? Like you don't need to look like a Kardashian.
No, but
The
that's how they wanna
Kardashians don't
look,
know
right?
what a real body looks like. all that stuff, right? And I mean, look, again, if that's how you want to look, sure, you know what I mean, do it. I'm not going to say anything, but right, you learn how to deal with food, learn how to deal with exercise, learn how to be healthy before you go ahead. But if you have some kind of thing, like some scar on your face or on your body or on your, like your nose is crooked or your lips are whatever, and you need a procedure because you want to fit in, although you're beautiful to me, I say, okay, go get it, because that's going to affect your day to day. You don't look good. You don't feel good when you look in the mirror. Go and do that.
Mhm.
Right? But plastic surgery on another, like, I think I've talked too long about it. So I think you guys get it.
No, it's all good.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in like all that BBL and like traveling to go get this done and that done just because you want to fit in with the masses. Like, you know what I mean? You got to have a fat ass and a Coca-Cola waist. Like, who? That's not realistic. That's not realistic. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'd
Yeah.
rather your body look normal and your brain work like better than, you know, you looking super fine and you're so super materialistic and superficial about everything like your body. We have
Mhm.
to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, to each their own is what it is. You know, do what makes you happy, and that's. See, I'm not opposed to going to Dominican or Colombia or wherever it is, and getting work done because it's your choice. So, I'm not hating.
Like, I think that we should definitely, when it comes to like fitness and stuff like that, you should absolutely put in the work because nothing comes easy. Whatever comes easy goes easy. So, like, even if you do get your BBL, get all this stuff, you know, first of all, BBL is, I think, the riskiest procedure you can do in plastic surgery. People die from getting BBLs. So I don't think anyone should take that lightly. I feel like also it's really on trend right now to have big butts, but it's not always on trend. So like who knows? The trend could go in the next 5-10 years. I think like yeah, you should be more confident in the body that you have, but I completely understand like especially as you get older in life that things change in your body, especially as women when we have kids and stuff like that, certain things change. And there's some things that we can fix with fitness and weight loss, and there's some things that will never be fixed that way. And so I think I'm the only person who has to actually live my life in my body. Like nobody else has to do that. Like everybody else can give me advice, but they don't have to actually walk in my shoes. They don't have to live in my body and deal with the way it feels and what I look like every day. So on that way, I believe that we should each have like our own kind of decision at the end of the day. But I don't think it's a decision that should be taken lightly. And I think like to a certain extent, we really need to work a lot more on our mental health before we work on our physical health. And that's easily said, but dude, is it ever hard? But like it's just hard. It's really hard. I think everybody deals with stuff that they don't like about themselves. And
Everybody's got insecurities, and that's okay though. Like, but people need to understand that insecurities are okay. It's a part of life, right? It's not about
it's
not
easy to say.
insecurities. No, it's not easy to say. It's what everybody lives. It's just not everybody says it. Not everybody's okay with saying I've got an insecurity. They pretend like they don't, but every single person's got something that they're not good with, right?
Or they feel they're not.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That they feel they're not good at. They feel they don't feel good about, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. Everybody's got them, and it's got to be okay. You got to understand, or the people have got to understand that it's okay to have them. You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to be looking like these magazines are making out women to look like. Like, you know, why do you need to feel like you need to look like that? You are beautiful how you are. Like, you don't need to get work done. You don't need to put makeup.
Certain color, you don't have to have your hair a certain way.
Uh,
Yeah, I tell my daughter that all the time, tell my kids that all the time. That
then the men need to tell their boys, and the girls, like the moms, need to teach their boys that there's a certain way you need to treat women, right?
yeah,
There shouldn't be this expectation of women to be magazine like, because that's unrealistic. You know, if you're beautiful and you're model like and you're like that's beautiful. It's great. I'm happy for you, and you know, good. But you can't put someone down because they don't fit that description, right?
yeah.
You can't take that out on them. I don't believe in that. So
Yeah.
That's where plastic surgery and I stand.
Agree. Kevin, we're waiting to hear from you too.
But Murad, you mentioned like the magazine a couple of times, but I think more so now it's all about like social media too. Like the amount of time like kids spend on social media now, it's ridiculous, man. Because we didn't have that like when we were younger, in our adolescence, like we lived in a world before social media existed, and we grew up with it, and we've seen the transition and the bombardment of um, the standards, right? It's like just been completely inflated. Like uh, they have a false concept of what beauty really is, right? And you're gonna hear like a lot of stuff about beauty is on the inside and blah blah blah, whatever, right? But when you're an adolescent, you're going through puberty, you're going through like a whole bunch of like different shit in life, and self-image and self-esteem becomes like a very real factor, right? And especially again going back to like social media, bullying was one thing, but now we have cyberbullying, which is incrementally worse. So it's hard, I think some kids, I think Morad, again, you're right. Like it depends on how you bring up your kids too, because uh, there's parents who, there's adults who are old, but they haven't really matured. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure all of us can just, uh, you know, uh, say, oh, I know that I know exactly that person you're talking about because there's some people that we don't socialize with anymore because their level of maturity hasn't peaked. You know what I mean? So, uh, and those are the those people end up having kids, and they end up teaching them the same kind of garbage that they've come to believe as adults. So really depending on how you raise your kid, really, like you could have like a superstar kid that just is super humble, grateful, polite, like all of these things. It depends on the values that you instill in your kids, and if you don't instill those values, you're just gonna have another mini you, right? Like, and that's the reality too. I've heard a lot of parents refer to their kids as mini me's, you know, but they forget that they're their own individual, and you have to express. They're gonna have to express themselves how they feel eventually, right? So if there's this one scene in Fresh Prince of Bel Air where Uncle Phil was telling Carlton that he's going to Princeton. And Carlton was like, I don't want to go to Princeton. I want to go to Yale, right? So like a lot of parents set these expectations for their kids, and they're just like really beyond their grasp. So when it comes to reality, you if you don't teach your kids right, they're just gonna end up being as superficial as you. If you're the type.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic. The next topic that I wanted to bring up is actually about privilege and the concept of privilege. I know when I say privilege, most people start thinking about race right away. But I actually, because we have the men here, I wanted to bring up like gender or sex. I don't know what people mean. I don't know politically what's the right term. But is there such a thing as male privilege, you believe? And yeah, what do you think about the term male privilege?
Um, I'll qualify it. I think in the context of North America, male privilege is overplayed. It's not to say it's not there, but I think that it's overplayed.
What does that mean?
Meaning, since 2011, the Me Too movement, an argument can be made and should be made that women have as much rights as uh, as males, and in fact, the idea of male privilege it's a phantom. It's at least in North America and Western Europe. And then if you go to other countries, like a woman, let me flip the script, right? You're asking the guys, does male privilege exist? And the flip question would be to the woman, what privileges do men enjoy that you can't enjoy?
That's
You're
a,
asking me?
Sure.
that's a valid point.
No, I mean, like, even
When you said male privilege, I thought about corporate America rather than like women and men. Like when you said male privilege, my attention automatically went to the men getting paid higher wages for the same jobs that women do, and women don't get that same pay. I think if you get a CEO and he's getting paid $400,000 a year, and they step down or they get fired, and you hire a female CEO, that should be a bare minimum start $400,000 a year. You
True.
should never be like, okay, you're gonna start off at 200,000, and then we're gonna work you up. WNBA, NBA, skills, right? It takes skills to do these things, right? But it doesn't make as much money. Like there's not as people at WNBA games as NBA games, and they don't charge as much. All that, so the pay scales down. I get it, but when you said privilege, male privilege, I've automatically thought of like corporate America and The Office, because that's what I hear it most. Right? As far as what can women do that men can't, there are a few things that men do that women can't, and it's not that can't and in a it's not that they can't like physically do it, but some men might be better at it. And don't ask me for examples because I can't think of exact examples. But there are, like, for example, if it comes to like male and women privilege in like sports, right? What's happening? And I'm gonna go to the side for a second. Transgender people, males, going into female and competing into female sports and dominating, right? They went into boxing, beat the out of a woman down, or they ran super fast and broke women records. Is that fair? So you want equality, right? Women say they want equality, right? Now we put them on the same scale, and then that's not okay, right? Like I don't believe in that. So that's where my mind went. I didn't think about what can men do that women can't, or vice versa. It just went straight to corporate.
I just want to say something. Maureen, can you keep him awake because his eyes were closed for a little too long?
No, well, actually, I am awake. I was really focused. I was really zoned in. I was listening to Murad.
Wait, Jumbo.
No, I was really listening to Murad. I heard you. Right?
Okay.
And I was absorbing what you were saying.
Feeling what I'm saying. He's
He was like,
vibing what I'm saying.
Okay. I thought he was
Yeah,
fine.
I do that sometimes to,
No,
Joe Biden
I
style.
wasn't sure. I
right?
was like, whoa.
No, come on now. You say Joe Biden, everybody knows you're falling asleep now.
No, I was not. I was fully listening to you. Murad, that's interesting. But what I think male privilege, it encompasses pretty much anything. So you're absolutely right. One way of looking at it would be to look at the corporate world, and a valid argument may be available there. But I think that, is it perfect? No system is perfect.
Nothing is perfect. That's another problem. Perfection doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is no, name me one thing that's perfect other than, God and,
And me.
we'll get into, I didn't want you to get to that. But like we get into a different discussion religiously at that point. But perfection in human beings does not exist, right? And our problem is that we chase it, and we think it's achievable. You don't want to achieve perfection. If you achieve perfection, then you're bored, right? If you achieve perfection, you're bored. You got nothing to chase. But that's what I'm saying. Perfection.
What is it?
Perfection is in your eyes, whatever you believe is perfect. But I think you're not mistaken, but you're replacing perfection with like sort of like ultimate goals, right? But they're different, right? Like having a goal and achieving it is different than perfection. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but Yeah, I think perfection doesn't exist. Nor should anybody be like, I want to be perfect. There is no perfect.
Yeah, you guys didn't answer the question. What privileges
Not
do
at all.
men?
Not at
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
I
Tiana, what
went. I went
privileges do?
sideways.
No, it's okay. No, I
What
wasn't.
privileges do they have?
Yeah,
What
what
rights
privileges
do
do? Well, privileges and rights. All right, let's substitute
they have?
rights.
Rights, nothing.
All
Rights
right,
and
so all the
benefits,
same
Well,
thing.
I think that
no, privileges is a different thing.
All right, so enlighten me. What privileges do I enjoy? We're not talking about Egypt, some country in Africa, a developing country. You as a modern woman living in Toronto or Richmond Hill or wherever you
We
live.
not mention Zimbabwe by name if
no,
we
no.
mention
Can I just say
Egypt by
something?
name.
A friend of mine, when she was doing
We're not talking about
Huh?
a friend of mine was doing her residency in the States. I forget where she was. I want to say like Philadelphia or something like that. I
Fly
don't know.
Eagles fly, baby.
She happened to be doing her residency with her fiance at the time. They're both from like the same country, so they're the same race, same religion. But she mentioned that everyone actually respected him more, and it was because he was a man. They looked the same skin color, so it had nothing to do with their race.
Yeah.
But because he was a male, they had a lot more respect for him than they did for her. So, like, I mean,
Tiana. Let me ask
Okay.
you a question. Is that not like it comes off like it's not something you can measure? And I'm not trying to say she didn't have an unpleasant experiences, but it's not something you can measure objectively speaking. It's her perceptions of how people perceive it. It's a very valid but subjective point.
I want to push back on that a little bit because
well, I will say, sorry, I just wanted to mention that, like, she gave me a few examples of when she wanted to take time off. They allowed him to have time off and not her. Like, it just didn't make any sense. What was the reason? What was the difference between the two of them? And it was just the simple fact that one was male, one was female. Really, I mean, it could be that maybe he was more, he was better at his job. Who knows? But that's the impression.
Maybe he asked for time off before she sent in her request.
Well, apparently it was pretty, and even he had said that like he saw that they were treating her differently.
Okay. Maureen, you're going to push back?
the arguments you're making could also be made for race. And I would also push back on them if somebody made them for race. If someone said, oh, well, what privileges do white people have that black people don't have? On the outside, rights, when we talk about rights, they have the same rights. Are they treated the same in society in the same scenarios? They are not. And I would make the same argument for women. As a woman, for example, I'm going to give you a very, very small, simple example. I have a TikTok account, which I will not name. It is a financial account. It has 25,000 followers right now, and I've never shown my face on it or spoken on it. Why? Because I know the minute they see a woman running this account, and all the people who follow me are young men. If they see me, a young woman of color, running this account, I'm going to lose everything. So there are, unfortunately, realistically, positions of power are typically thought of as male dominated, or typically men are perceived as better suited to be in those positions. I don't agree that they are, but that's just how the whole world perceives it. That's why there's a lot more men presidents, a lot more men CEOs. So in terms of rights, we all have the same rights, but on like whether you like it or not, there are systems or stereotypes in place for different genders. And I'm not saying that it's always a bad thing. Sometimes it's actually good and sometimes it's not. And I'm not complaining against it. I'm just saying that it is a reality. In the same way that with race, I see it as a reality that if you are a person of color, especially if you're a black person, you are going to have a harder time at the banks. You're going to have a harder time in certain scenarios just by the way you look, for no other reason. Not because you're less intelligent, less competent, less anything. Just because people look at you, and everyone does this. We all do this. We look at each other and make split-second judgments. Oh, this person looks like this. You know how many times people have looked at me and say, "You look like a party girl." I don't know what about me looks like a party girl. Maybe because I'm very like outspoken. I don't know. But if you get to know me, I'm not a party person at all. I like small, intimate gatherings. I don't like crowded areas.
It's
But
the
I'm
curl.
enjoying. Pardon?
It's
It's the hair? Yeah, maybe. It's the devil's curly hair, as they say on The Simpsons. But, but I'm saying, like, basically, what I'm saying is we all make split-second judgments on each other just based on how we look and how we present ourselves in the world. And so, like, I think the reality is that there is a privilege that men have in certain situations and then women have in certain situations. Case in point, when you're a family lawyer, who gets the upper hand when it comes to custody? It's almost always going to be the mother, right?
No comment.
Okay, well, no comment. But I know, and it makes sense that in a custody battle, the judge or whatever court usually will try to favor the mother first. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because mothers are seen as more nurturing than fathers. I don't know. That's just how it is. And I feel like that's a female privilege that women have that over men. And so I think there are privileges that men have and privileges that women have. And that's just the reality. That's just how it is.
I think honestly, like this topic is a little dated for me personally. Um, I mean, honestly, like to Dumo's point, like there's other parts in the world that don't have the kind of privileges that we have, right? So the simple fact that we in Western society are discussing this right now is kind of like a mute point, you know. Things are the way they are. Like you can complain about it, you can analyze it, like, but at the end of the day, it's always going to be subject to change eventually, right? And with the implementation of like ESG and CEI and DEI and all those things that are coming up right now, like you have to hire. You have to like it's really a matter like as far as corporate is concerned, you have to. It's more important to check boxes than to hire somebody that's right for the job, right? And now diversity and inclusion is such a big thing in corporate world, right? That you may not realize it. I don't know if either one of you are working corporate right now, but the reality of it is that there are more women in executive leadership roles now than there has ever been throughout history, right? So times are actually changing right now. So the idea or the notion that we're talking about privilege, whether male privilege, women privilege, whatever, all these concepts are changing very very rapidly right now. You know, as a man, I don't really care because men have been the I guess the dominant of the sexes since the beginning of mankind, right? So we've had a pretty good run, right? Like things are changing right now. So I honestly I don't see anything wrong with women taking the lead in corporate right now, right? But a lot of men have problems with it, right? Like there's some women in executive roles that focus more on women in power than the actual business itself. I don't know if anybody has actually noticed it, but like women are actually in power right now in corporate in the corporate world.
Like shout out to all our subscribers. We appreciate you. We see you. We love
Gang,
you.
gang.
Yeah. And everyone, don't forget to
Click
follow
the subscribe.
Instagram, TikTok.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Email us.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
I
follow
hear
us.
from you guys. And if you have an opinion on anything or if there's anything you want us to talk about, reach out to us because we want to hear from you. We're here for you. Okay. So, but yeah. Thank you to everyone. All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you in the next one.
Stay refreshed. Bye.
Bye.
Do you know how much charity Andrew Tate does to the
Charity with the women he prostitutes and pimps. That's what he's doing with his money. He's giving it to charity. The women that he's manipulating and prostituting and trafficking. You're saying that that's okay that he gives it to charity. Like we should like him. He's
Where-
anyone who traffics women. I cannot like them. He traffics women. To me, I'm sorry. I don't care if he says some truth here and there. No.